Alright then, here we go. Hello everyone and welcome to round 5 of the NEF1 Championship this week, taking place around the Miami circuit. Hard Rock Stadium is our venue for tonight for the first time in a season and a half, basically, as we didn't run here last season out. But massively improved circuit on this game, just that little bit more grip, and dry conditions will apply here. I think it was slightly raining last time we went to Miami. Now, thankfully, dry conditions apply. Only 12 drivers on the grid tonight. Unfortunately, a little bit of a smaller lobby size. It is being worked on as we have a Starter McLaren coming out of No Larks. Yes, it is Sol McLaren on the grid today. Let's get everything going. Jumping straight into Q2, actually, as with a little bit of delay on stream. But here we go. No Larks first out on track, and I believe he's being followed by one of the Red Bulls of Squidge 2017. As we're actually getting reports already from AB, the mixed conditions might apply in the Grand Prix. So that's somewhat worrying, actually, if we're going to have a massive downpour, but we'll wait and see how everything goes. Shall wait and see. We'll know in a couple of minutes' time how the race is going to be looking. Qualifying then is going to be a little bit shorter than usual on stream. Wigan 71 heading out on track as well, and now we're getting reports that one of the Mercedes and a Ferrari are coming out. I believe that might just be Ondracek. Yes, it is, along with Matty Adam 16. So let's see what else we can get up. Everyone probably going to go out instead of soft tires, you would imagine. But only 2 people are going to get knocked out at this stage of qualifying before the top 10 shootout. Matty Adam 16 has done decent around this track in the past. Is he going to be able to deliver a result now? Maybe looking for a first podium of the season. At the moment, Nasty 31 very much in contention for the Drivers' Championship. Djokovic, however, has been the most solid driver so far this season, and is leading the championship by 10 points over Nasty 31. Ondracek just running a little bit behind. As here we go, No Larks has just started his first flying lap of the session, so has Squidge. I must say the off-board camera angles at this circuit not really ideal, so let's go on board. Means we'll probably be on board for a majority of this session. Nice and early on the power, coming out of Sector 1 and down this very long, confusing instant straight. And a very fast run up to the hardest braking zone of the track and into this. I actually quite like this little section. Down maybe even into first gear for this next part. Now second or third gear, and Joe just losing the rear a little bit before coming up to the final hairpin esque left-hander. And now second longest straight on the track and thoroughly backed out of the lap. What's Squidge going to be able to do then? He's going to set the first competitive time. And he's also going to be able to pass No Larks on this straight for the first time of this session. Yellow flags in Sector 3. So then, Squidge 2017 rounds the final corner. How much more grip is there coming out of here? A lot more. So then, what are we looking at? A 127 flat for the first lap time of this session. No Larks at 138.7 likely isn't going to be enough to get him through. If it is enough to get him through, I need a new job. I'm going to be racing full time if that's the case. Ondracek is now coming around the section where it all went wrong for No Larks. As Wigan goes ahead of No Larks then with a 127.689. Only one person needs to beat No Larks time now for it to be... No, never mind. I'm going to stop speaking because I was about to give you some misinformation. As Spenklos and Iwatts is still in the pit lane. 10 minutes to go. Ondracek jumps into P2, half a second behind Squidge, 127.584, and Matty goes up to a 27.879. So Wigan showing some very, very decent pace right now. Squidge is showing some even better pace. Here comes Djokovic, the championship leader, On the mediums, what's he going to be able to do? And it's going to be a 32.838, not spectacular, and at the moment, not going to be good enough. Not going to be good enough, but something will have happened on that lap, surely. 1:32, 5 seconds slower, surely not. Zamo Bamo now on the main straight. It's had a very decent start to the season, Zamo Bamo, so let's see what he's going to be able to do on that set of soft tires. Q2 needs to probably set a mid-27 in order to be able to get through here. Maybe a low 27. Still awaiting laps from Ginstis, Iwat, and Spenklos yet to come out of the pit lane. Here we go, Samo straight up at the P2, 27.302, faster than Olarks, faster than Ondercheck, faster than Matti, faster than Djokovic. Very, very decent lap there from Samo Bamo, and that should actually see him through. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Here we go then, ABT and Nasi. ABT has had an up and down start to the season. One decent result, and then a couple of harder races. As for last week, unfortunately, I do not know, as I missed that one due to illness. So obviously we do have the result, I just don't have it in my head, which is a bit annoying. Here we go then, down the back straight, ABT. How fast is that Mercedes in straight line? It looks relatively quick, and it is. 330 kilometers an hour as we're heading into the braking zone. Solid, solid indeed. And across the line is going to be 27.664, just a bit slower than his teammate by about a little over half a tenth of a second. And it's a 5.6 for Mercedes, just about what they actually be in real life. Apart from these last couple of weeks where they're winning races like it's nothing. And Squidge improves by a couple of hundredths of a second and increases the gap to P2. And talking about Red Bull, the other one has decided he does not want to come out yet. It's just staying a little bit shy of circuit. So then, looking at what else is going on track at the moment. Ginstis is out, Iwat is out. Crucial for their session. Coming out quite late though. Would have expected them quite a bit earlier, to be honest. Didn't really think you'd wait. I really think that they'd wait this long before they went out. Just give yourself time for 3 runs if necessary. Now they've hardly got time for 2. As Ginstis has just started a flying lap coming out of Sector 1. It's just on board with Iwat on his out lap. Completely missed that. Here we go, and Ginstis on the back straight in a Haas. Also had quite a couple of decent results, actually. Has Ginstis since joining up with NEF1. So let's see if he can produce another one here in Miami. I can announce also that this race was supposed to be a sprint up until a couple of days ago when the decision was made due to the changes in the game. All sprint races have been cancelled for the remainder of the season, and every single race, barring any change now, will be Q1, Q2 and Q3 and a 50% Grand Prix. Not ideal. We would have loved to have the old sprint format remain, as it was popular with a lot of drivers, and yeah, they were just a blast to watch, but unfortunately not possible with the game settings as they are. So unfortunately the sprint races have been cancelled for this season. Looking at options hopefully for next season. Here we go, against this cross line, and not good enough or anything, but 10th, and that is not going to get him through. Spenklos now on an outlap, Iwat is on a flyer. But then Matti, Adam and Djokovic also in a bit of a pickle. Djokovic has improved his 132 from earlier to 127.834 on that set of mediums, I believe, but he's going to have to go out again on the set of softs, and he is out already on the set of softs. But then Iwatts comes around the final corner then in the RB. Is he going to be able to knock Ginsters provisionally out of qualifying? Yes, he can. 28.404, but that's going to give Matti and Djokovic a little bit of breathing room. Still 6 tenths up to the likes of Ginsters and Iwatts going to have time for one more run. As there we go, Ondrejek, fastest lap of the session so far with 127.003, 3 thousandths of a second quicker than Squidge 2017, who has been mighty in qualifying this season, just hasn't been able to get it done in the races, barring Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was Saudi. With very solid P2 that was battling for the lead all the race through, with Djokovic eventually just emerging in P2, sadly. As here we go, Spenclose straight up into P3 actually. Okay, so that's a very handy lap from Spenclose. Went out once, didn't need to go out again. 27.272 for the second Red Bull. And that is nice and safely through into Q3, unless the entire field goes mental. 3.5 minutes remaining, and at the moment Iwatts and Ginsters are out of qualifying. And Q3 is looking stacked. So it's going to be hard for them really to progress any higher than what they're already at. Is Iwatts charging up to go again, maybe? Because going into the pit lane at this stage, then an out lap, then a fast lap, it's looking quite tight on time. We'll wait and see. Wait and see, but he's going slow enough for me to believe he is just recharging. As for Djokovic, is on the back straight. Needs to improve by a couple of attempts in order to just solidify himself, probably ahead of no Larks to be 100% confirmed. So is he going to be able to do that on the run up to the line? And he goes third fastest, Djokovic. 27.152, he's nice and safely through. And that has not really affected too much, to be fair. We beat Wigan and Matti now, P8, P9 and P10. So at the moment, ABT is... I wouldn't say completely safe, but mostly safe. As here we go, Iwatts has been recharging his batteries and he's going again. And by the look of things, he's improving massively through the first sector. And I mean massively, so Matti might now be in a little bit of a pickle. We'll wait and see. 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the session. So Iwatts is improving through the second sector as well, I would imagine. And that is an invalidated time and just breaking the track limits there ever so slightly. Does he have fuel to do one more fast lap? Because that would have probably been a lap, by the look of things, to be good enough to get him through into Q3. Oh, Ginsters now as well is going to have one go at this. Now then, is the session over for Iwatts? Will he be able to get one more go done? He's speeding up, he's coming into the pit lane. Session is over for Iwatts, and it is going to be P11. This means Wigan is safe from elimination now. The only driver who could fall out... No, Wigan's not safe from elimination, sorry. Not quite. Depends on what Matty Adams does here. If he can improve by a little bit, knock Wigan down to P10, and Ginsters can improve as well. Wigan is not safe. So I should not be taken seriously. I should not be taken seriously when making analysis like that, because apparently I can't think. Here we go, Wigan 71 rounding the final corner. Is he going to be able to improve on this lap? I really hope he didn't back out of it when he heard me say that, because it would have been slightly awkward. Here we go, round the final bend, and it's going to be a 27.798. Does it improve? What is Ginsters going to be able to do on this lap? What's Matty going to be able to do on this lap? Matty is not improving at all, but he's going to be able to get round one final time, and it looks like he's charged up for one final time. 20 seconds remaining in this session. Matty's just going to get through. As for his teammate, he's out on an out lap, but he doesn't need to do anything. He is 100% safe from elimination. It's Nasi 31. Here we go, Ginstus is improving, and it just might be enough by the look of things. Ondercheck has retired, so has Iwatts, and so has Squidge. We'll see Ondercheck and Squidge at least for Q3. Sessions dropped then. Ginstus, this is the lap that's gotta make everything count. Is he gonna be able to get ahead of Matty on paper? What's he gonna be able to do? Who's gonna be in the danger zone? Ginstus fails to improve, and he is out. He improves, but he fails to improve enough. He's out of qualifying. Ginstus and Iwatts out here in Q2 with Matty safe from elimination, along with Wigan, Nolarks in P8, BT in P7, Nasi in P6. He is behind Samobamo, Djokovic, Spenklo, Squidge, and Ondrejek takes P1 in Q2, and we're moving on to Q3 in just a little bit. But very, very close at the front between Ondrejek, Squidge, and Spenklos, all within 1/10 of a second. Djokovic not far behind, and then Samobamo ahead of Nasi and a BT by a couple of hundreds. Very tight up front. 3/10 of a second separate the top 7 here, with no Larks not far behind either. The entirety of the top 10 separated by less than 9/10 of a second. The top 9 separated by less than 7/10 of a second. Matty at the moment is slacker, but he just brings that gap down a little bit, as Nasi goes faster than anyone at the moment. 1:26.926, and that is the last thing that's going to happen in this session. Nasi then emerging on top ahead of Ondrejek and Squidge. And Nasi at the moment is on an absolute charge. If Djokovic doesn't speed up a little bit, his lead of the championship could be at threat. We'll see as well with the mixed conditions. Could prove tricky out there for everyone. So, and there we can see the gap at the front just increases a little bit with Nasi's late lap there, up to 77 thousandths of a second and 80 thousandths of a second up to Squidge. And then Spenklos, Djokovic, Samobamo, ABT, Nolarks, Wigan and Matty. Adam all make it through into Q3. Matty, by a couple of tenths of a second, would have been less than ideal for him. But makes it through regardless, and into the top 10 shootout we go. Everyone has a brand new chance to get a new lap in, and the battle for pole position is on. And a pole position which I don't think is going to count for too much here, depending on weather. If it rains, going to be absolutely crucial. If it's dry, overtaking down into that last corner is going to, DRS and slipstream into the final corner is going to be OP. Here we go then, 12 minutes remaining in qualifying. Ondrejek, Nolarks, Nasi, Djokovic, Samobamo, ABT, both the Red Bulls, so Spenklos and Squidge, Wigan and Matty Adam 16 are your contenders here. We got a Mercedes, we got a McLaren coming out. To what is an unsafe release if I've ever seen one from the McLaren team. Just hardly a unsafe release. Here we go, Nolarks and Ondrejek, I believe, is coming out straight away. Yes, they are, along with Samobamo and a Red Bull. Yes, it is. Both Red Bulls, even. So everyone is coming in, absolutely everyone is coming out early here. No one holding station in the pits for even a moment. So everyone's coming out. This is gonna be a hectic couple of minutes. Let's hope everyone just spreads out on track a little bit. Because I don't fancy trying to cover all of these laps coming in at the same time. Ondrejek at the moment is first out in line. Then we got Nolarks followed by Samo. 2 Red Bulls followed by, I believe that's Nasi ahead of that little queue. Then we got Djokovic, I believe. Yeah, followed by Matty, Wigan and ABT. And everyone basically sharing the same couple of corners now as well. Please, everyone, just back off a little bit and help out the commentator. No? Okay. I'll see how it is. At the moment, people are going to get a little bit of a slipstream of each other as well. I don't know if that's a plan from everyone. Maybe from those 2 Red Bulls, Spenklos and Squidge, if one of them goes, or one of them sacrifices their lap in order to get the other slipstream down the back straight. could well be is now shuffling start at the back straight as Undercheck is about to begin his first lap of this session. But everyone is basically sharing the same couple of corners. There's Aston Martin who's massively backed it up, but apart from that, no. As here we go, everyone's now around the final corner. Undercheck's just heading into the second sector as it happens. So everyone, most everyone, sharing sector 1. So it is going to get quite tense coming up to the end of this next run, about a minute and a half's time. In about a minute's time, actually. Here we go, Undercheck, hardest braking zone of the track and into the kind of stadium section of the circuit. Absolutely splendid circuit in my opinion, or absolutely splendid sector in my opinion. Oh, apart from that little sausage cab, which just for some reason is there, I have no clue why. Unsettled Undercheck's car, but nice and safely onto the back straight. And hard braking into the final braking zone of the track. How much grip do you got on the exit? Quite a bit, enough to just get the throttle straight down, unlike the last couple of games. And it's a 26.606 from Undercheck. Very fast lap. No larks, not even able to get close to it. Who's going to be next across the line? It's Samo Bamo. What's he going to be able to do? 27 flat. Now we got the Red Bulls coming up off Squidge. Sorry, Spenclose and then Squidge. Spenclose up into P2. Squidge up into P2. 26.737. Not a bad effort that. A BT not able to match it. Nassi's just coming up to the line following someone else. I couldn't see who it was. Nassi goes quicker than anyone. And now Wigan is the final car remaining. What's he going to be able to do? He's going to be able to get ahead of Matty Adams, 16, forced down to P8. Wigan, 27.543, but Nassi, 31, with a 2-tenth advantage exactly over Undercheck here in Q3. 126.406, already half a second faster than his best time in Q2. So Nassi, was he just holding back a little bit, or did he absolutely nail it? Undercheck had a decent lap. Nassi had a brilliant one. And as for Undercheck's teammate, did not really have the best experience in Q3, probably currently sitting in P10, 128.658. Needs to improve by a lot to even make it up into the next session. But what the hell is that? Is that a Mercedes on hard? Is that BT on hard tires in Q3? BT, can you just please confirm this? Are you actually on hard tires? I believe Jay's pointed that out in chat as well. That's a Mercedes on hard tires in clutch time in Q3. How can you even select hard tires for qualifying? That is news to me as his car starts massively over-revving heading into the pit lane. But what on earth is going on with those hard tires? What? I've never seen after 4 years of commentating in NEF1, I have never ever seen a car on hard tires in Q3 before. That's gotta be a new approach to the game. That's the hype from Britain coming in with Max Verstappen proving the hards were the best race tire with 12 laps to go, surely. I wouldn't choose to qualify on them though. I would not choose to qualify on them. Have we gotten a response from a BT? As BT is actually on hards, it's tactical. Okay. I don't know though if that means he's burned through his only set of hard tires for the weekend. 5 minutes to go then. And everyone, oh god, we're having a situation where I think most people are going to come out at the same time again, aren't they? No, because no Larks comes out quite early. Movement down in McLaren, he's coming out earlier than I would. 5 minutes to go, I'd probably go with about 2:30 remaining, seeing how Track Evolution on this game's quite aggressive. So he's coming out 2.5 minutes earlier than I would, but now he's leaving himself a little room for error at the end, which might be smart. But apart from that, everything is relatively calm. So at the moment, we've got the McLaren of No Larks to look at a McLaren who won here in real life a couple of weeks ago. Lando Norris securing his first win in F1. So is No Larks going to be able to do the same and secure his first win in any F1? Needs to find a little over a second's worth of pace to challenge for pole position. Actually, quite a bit more than a second. So I wouldn't say it's likely, unfortunately, for this weekend, but you never know. You never know. Last race I won on track in the French Grand Prix in NEF1, I believe it was back in Season 4. I was not the fastest car on track, and I was probably way slower than a second per lap than Beatty was chasing me down. Okay, as Beat is actually coming with a really good point here. As it's going to, or if it's going to rain in the Grand Prix, wants to carry over an extra set of softs going into the race if we're getting those somewhat mixed conditions. That's actually genius from a Beat, and I can't believe that I didn't even think of it. People are starting to come out now. Djokovic, Wiggin and Matty Adams, so still a bit earlier than I was expecting, but soon at the 3-minute mark I believe everyone is going to start piling out at pit lane. No Larks coming round sector 1, the last corner, and onto sector 2. How much is he improving? By 2.5 tenths of a second for No Larks, which is going to be enough to worry probably Matty and Wiggin at the moment. I feel like Samo might just be out of reach at the moment. But you can also gain quite a bit of time coming out of the last corner through this stadium sector. Section, it's called. I haven't done English in a couple of weeks now, as I was ill last week, and it shows. It really does show. Here we go, No Larks. Ooh, just touches that sausage curve, goes a little bit deep, but I believe, nope, just backed out of it instantly. Instantly backing out, and that is No Larks. He's going to have one more go at this, and that's probably why he came out early, just to give him that bit of extra room. As here we go, Wiggins now out for his last lap of this session. Goes a little bit deep heading into the final corner of sector 1. And he just improves, but not by a significant margin. Djokovic, his teammate, what's he going to be able to do? Needs to break a bit earlier than his teammate did. And he does slightly earlier, just misses the apex though, but I don't think that'll cost him. And once again, just improves. So they're actually on very similar, yeah, they're on identical trajectories at the moment, is Djokovic and Wiggin. Bit ironic. And as for Matty Adam, he's on a way worse trajectory. He'll have one more go at this. But he has fairly backed out of his lap, and there's a little bit of a train behind him. Both the Red Bulls are about to cross the line to start their last lap. As for Djokovic, this is not looking rapid. And it isn't. As for Wiggin, this is, it's not rapid, but it's an improvement of about 2 tenths of a second. And that is session over for Wiggin, man. 27.363 was all he was able to do, and I believe, yeah, maybe didn't have anything more, but could leave him very vulnerable now here at the end. And at the moment, P10 might not be an impossibility. So here we go, how are both the Red Bulls getting on? Spen close ahead of Squidge on track, and that's the way it's actually been this season. Spen close ahead of Squidge, even though I probably predicted it to be the other way around at the start of the season. And just purely based on pace as well, we thought Squidge would have been maybe outclassing Spen close, but it hasn't really happened yet. But Spen close at the moment, going quick enough to start worrying the guys up front. Nassi and Undercheck. Needs to start looking behind them. Session has drawn to a close then, and everyone is just going to get their laps completed. Matty Adam 16, backed out of his last lap, needs to get this one going. Nassi at the moment on provisional pole position is just ahead of him, so Matty won't be getting any favours by having him jump out of the way. Nassi in the battle for pole then. Spenclose has come up to P2, 26.540. Squidge has not improved. It is P4 for the other Red Bull. Where is Nassi on track, and who's going to be next across that line? It's going to be Djokovic next across the line. He's improving, but he's not improving by a significant margin, and this is a worry for Djokovic now. He needs to find pace during the Grand Prix. He needs to get ahead of Squidge here. Did he have a good final corner? Yes, he did. P4 for Djokovic, gets ahead of the second Red Bull. Crucial for him. Now, where is Nassi? Just coming out of the final corner with Vonderchek and Matty just behind him. This is all going to happen very quick. Nassi, is he going to improve to provisional P1? Yes, he does. Vonderchek takes P1 away from him. 26.228 from Vonderchek. And there is no beating that time, surely. ABT not going to be able to improve on this lap. And that is session over, unless Samo has anything up his sleeve. No, he does not. And that all went down incredibly quickly. But Ondrzejczyk takes P1 away from Nassi at the very end of that session. 126.228, followed by Nassi, Spenclose, Djokovic and Squidge. Samo in P6. Matty improves by a little bit up into P7 with no Larson P8. Wigan in P9. And ABT started the session on a set of hard tyres. He'll be regretting that now because he couldn't improve on that set of softs. Probably just had a little bit of a mistake throughout the lap. Is going to be starting in P10 in potentially wet conditions. That is a very strong lap, that from Ondrzejczyk, and I'm regretful that I didn't see more of it because it would have looked absolutely blistering, I'm sure. Ondrzejczyk, pole position by about 0.2 of a second as well. Over Nassi, 31. Spenclose, Djokovic and Squidge make up the top 5, separated by half a second. But the incredible close proximity that we saw in Q2, that just disappeared through Q3. And Ondrzejczyk, I said in the beginning of this commentary session, didn't I, that Ondrzejczyk has just fallen a little bit behind this season. If that's ever a statement to say no, I have not, yeah. Ondrzejczyk then with the I am him moment of the season so far, and it is absolutely pouring down. This isn't slight wet conditions, this is incredibly wet conditions, and it's going to be full wet tyres going on for the start of the race, surely. Not intermediates, it's full wet conditions for the Miami Grand Prix. Ooh. So this is now getting massively interesting. Do you remember at the start of the session when I said a fully wet race around Miami might not be the best thing? Well, we're gonna have a full wet race around Miami. Interestingly enough, I believe BT said mixed conditions in the Grand Prix, so is this just going to go away, this rain, a couple of laps into the Grand Prix, and is it going to fully dry out as well? Now we'll wait and see. Danny DC18 saying in chat, hurricane season. And I believe the game has responded. Anyways, then, we will be going to a little bit of a break before we get this Miami Grand Prix underway. So don't go anywhere, because 29 laps worth of racing action is coming up in a moment's time. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Well then, hello everyone, and we are back for full coverage of the Miami Grand Prix here in New Era F1 Esports for what is going to be, let's just say, an interesting race. We've seen everyone's pace on that red striped soft tire. Now we're going to see their pace on the blue striped wet tire because it's absolutely hammering it down at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami today. And I can confirm that the ready up has been given to get this race started. 29 laps plus a formation lap of the Miami Grand Prix. This is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be one of the harder races of the season now with wet conditions, I'm quite sure. And we'll all see how it unfolds. Ondercheck on pole position, followed by Nasi and Spenclose. Squidge unable to really perform at the dying stages of Q3. Going to be starting in P5. I believe they're being split by Djokovic in P4. Matty with a little bit of a frustrating moment at the end of Q3 as well, gaining half a second on his last lap and still in P7. So just not having the pace around here to do much more potentially. We'll wait and see how Matty Adam gets on in the race, see if he can pick up Samo, Squidge, maybe Djokovic. But at the moment, it's a very stacked top 5 on the grid. Ondercheck, Nasi, Spenclose, Djokovic and Squid. Yeah, that's a hell of a lineup. That's a hell of a lineup up front. Might be the strongest top 5 this season we've ever had. As said again, a little bit of a smaller lobby as well. We'll be working on it throughout the week and hopefully be able to get a couple of people in for next week. So if you're watching this, fancy joining up with NEF1, there's a little button down below our Twitch channel where it says join NEF1. It'll take you to the recruitment Discord and you'll be able to submit a ticket to join the league. So make sure to do so if you haven't already, if you do fancy joining in on the action. So then, poor visibility, everyone on that full wet tire, apart from a BT actually, starting on a set of intermediates, but he is the only one opting to do something different. If he can make that work, might be an absolute stroke of genius, but I believe it's going to be one too wet. As the order has been a bit unsettled on this formation lap, I believe that's Wigan and Nolarks has just switched places. Wigan, if you wouldn't mind trying to let Nolarks by now on this upcoming straight, that'd be brilliant. As Nolarks goes out of Wigan and order has been reset. So then, visibility is absolutely appalling now as we're about to get this Miami Grand Prix underway. Can't see anything, basically, behind these couple of guys. As then about to come up to the parking on the grid. Oh, as I believe Nolarks has had a moment coming out of the final corner, just a little bit of a spin. That's actually going to have his tyres relatively nice and warm. Ironically, so it might actually help him out as Ondercheck's already been parked on the grid for a little bit as I was just now coming up to his grid slot. We're about to get this Miami Grand Prix underway, folks. Here we go. There we go. Everyone is parked up. Everything has been reset. Let's go. We've got 5 red lights on the grid. And it's lights on, away we go for the Miami Grand Prix. Ondercheck does not get a good start at all. Nasi's going to take P1. Heading into turn 1. He's going to be challenged by the Red Bull behind him as well. No, but Nasi has the inside for turn 1. Ondercheck's actually going to be able to hang it around the outside and they go side by side through the first sector. But Nasi just has that move covered off Ondercheck with a lot of wheel spin at the start. Couldn't hold on to the lead, and Nasi says thank you ever so much. As Djokovic has also been able to get a position up on Spenclose. We got the usual top 3 once again this season of Nasi, Ondercheck and Djokovic is the top 3 in the championship. Squidge has had a bad start, down 2 positions into P7, but everything has happened nice and calmly. Nasi, though, breaking out an advantage already after a sector of 0.8 of a second, and Djokovic is now right on the chaff of Ondercheck, who might be struggling a little bit early on here in these wet conditions. Is Djokovic gonna try a move, maybe down the inside? Can he get on the brakes just that a little bit earlier? He could have gone for that, chose not to. Djokovic remains in P3, Ondercheck in P2. Nasi takes the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 1 then. No massive losers, no massive winners on this first lap. Matty Adam up 2 positions here in the wet experience, and it shows out of Samo, Bamo and Squidge. Samo is actually holding position at the moment on the start, P6. But now he's getting a good run on Matty Adams, 16 here, and might this happen into the last corner? Depends on how much he wants to deploy. Matty gonna hold the outside, gonna force Samo off the racing line to the inside of the last braking zone, and no, this is gonna be tight. Zamobamo, how early is he gonna be able to get on the power? Earlier than Matty, and he has P5. Very good move that from Zamobamo. Nasi 1 second in front of Djokovic now, who's been able to get past Ondercheck. Nasi, Djokovic, Ondercheck, Spenclose, Samo is your top 5. Matty up 1 position now on the start. Squidge down 2, and not liking these wet conditions one bit. How's a BT doing on that intermediate tyre? He's struggling, but it's actually looking like he's getting some decent grip of it. Just judging of no larks, and it's looking confident still as a beat. It's looking like he can actually maybe make a couple of moves. Early on here, through the first sector, looks like the Intis might not actually be a bad tie to be on at the moment. But then again, right now they're tiptoeing around. If you put BT up to the leaders at this point, might be a different story. Oh, it's Djokovic at the moment in the rain is saying, hello Nasi, I'm quick around here as well. Because what was a gap of 8 tenths of a second at the beginning of the lap is now 3 tenths of a second, and I can't even say that's 3 tenths of a second. It's nothing between Nasi and Djokovic at the moment. Oh, as Nasi goes a little deep, is Djokovic maybe gonna try one round the outside? No, he goes for a switchback in the third sector. And now it's a straight drag race down to the last corner. Ondercheck does not have the pace to hang with these two at the moment. Djokovic versus Nasi for the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 2. Nasi took the lead on lap 1. Ondercheck takes it right off him on lap 2 here, down the inside into the last braking zone. And that is a brilliant display over the last 2 laps. Djokovic up 3 positions on the start from P4 to P1 in 2 laps. And Djokovic says, thank you very much. I will take this one, and is he going to have pace to run away with this one? We'll wait and see. Djokovic then to extend his lead in the Drivers' Championship in his bid to become the first ever 3-time New F1 Esports champion. Nasi 1 second behind after a single corner. And Djokovic he's properly outpacing the rest of the field at the moment. There's nothing else about it. Overtook Ondercheck relatively easily on lap 1, and now overtook Nasi, not easily, but convincingly on lap 2. Already with a 1.3 second advantage. Nasi, can he do anything about this? We'll wait and see. A lot of racing still to do. How's a BT getting along on the intermediate tyre? Can't say he's doing badly on them. At the moment he's making up ground on these wet tyre runners. The question is the intermediate tyre the best tyre to be on, or is it just like that because everyone is punching up a line on that track for him? Look at him, he's going to be very careful to always stay in those tread marks of the cars ahead of him. Whether it's just a slight bit less standing water, but how early is he going to be? Yeah, he's getting on the power earlier than Wigan as well, coming out of the final corner. At the moment, that intermediate tyre is actually working really well for ABT, and we'll look at the fastest lap times in a couple of moments. But ABT going along nicely, braking nicely, the car just seems to be working for him. So is that a sign that maybe the Int is actually viable? Matty has had a moment into the pits actually, and Squidge is now coming in as well. Intermediate tyres, I would imagine, then people are actually starting to come in for the intermediate tyres. ABT might have pulled off a massive stroke here, and yeah, if this goes on, ABT will have actually made his way up into the top 5, maybe even top 3 positions. As here we go, ABT on Wigan just properly outgrips him. BT is now up into P6 on merit. I would imagine maybe ahead of him people are starting to come in as well. Squidge and Olarks both on intermediate tires, now making a proper pit stop for it after just 3 laps, and that's a massive loss for them. That is a massive loss of time for them. BT, de facto, if everyone else has to make a pit stop now, is leading this race. And then he'd be leading it by a considerable margin. BT, maybe with the strategy move of the season. Absolutely brilliant. Let's wait and see. Djokovic with 2-second advantage now over Nasi, who has a 1-second advantage over Ondrejek, who's now being challenged by Spenclose. Now then, if you're the top 5, do you come in for the intermediate tires, or do you wait until you absolutely have to? Let's have a look and see if they have to. 8 seconds is the gap between ABT and the leader, and it's coming down. And it's coming down rapidly. That wet tire, it's just not working. It is not working. I can see that already. The Inter is, by far the best tire to be on at the moment. Yep, people are coming in. People are coming in. Ondrejek, Spenclose, Sam Obama, they are all coming into the pit lane. BT, master stroke now, is in P3. That move by Ondrejek and Samo Spenclose, that's going to force Djokovic and Nasi in this lap. It is going to give them no choice, depending on how strong that intermediate tire is, as Matti sets the fastest lap now on the Inters, just to confirm. Nolarks has had a problem coming out of the last corner. Is he stuck? Yellow flags and, struggling. Is he coming into the pit lane? Yes, he is. I would imagine that's for a front wing change then. Oh, Djokovic and Nasi now left with no choice. BT leads this race by 13 seconds now over Djokovic and Nasi. Oh, sorry, over Matti. This is going to be an interesting one, seeing how it's all going to unplay. But BT's leading this race, massively outplaying absolutely everyone. Because surely Djokovic and Nasi are actually going to be coming in. Ondrejek is now just sitting behind Matti by the look of things, and the rain has, the rain has stopped. We are in full intermediate conditions now. There's not massive spray coming off that. There's spray coming off the Aston Martin, but it's not as bad as it was a couple of laps ago. It's drying up quickly. Djokovic and Nasi forced into the pit lane here on lap 5, and ABT leads this race after a brilliant call at the start. Oh, Nasi gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he's gonna have to serve that during the race as well, because we're moving towards dry conditions. Nasi is in massive trouble here. Nasi's in massive trouble. ABT now has the lead of the Grand Prix, and it's sizable. It's a sizable lead of the Grand Prix. Just how sizable is that? 10, 11 seconds, 9 seconds at the moment. Might it grow just that little bit more? About 9 seconds worth of a lead. Now let's see if Djokovic can start eating into that advantage. Because remember, BT's tyres are going to be just slightly more worn. 6 laps on a set of intermediates shouldn't be too much. Okay, but Djokovic is eating into the advantage relatively rapidly right now. We'll see how BT plays this one. It depends as well on when those dry conditions are going to apply. BT, remember as well, has an extra set of softs available to him now. Okay, so BT with the strategic move of a lot of seasons potentially, up 9 positions now in 6 laps, from P10 and down and out basically to P1. Yeah, just nothing but respect for ABT. That's a brilliant call. That's an absolutely brilliant call. Ondrejek sitting very much behind Matti at the moment. Is he going to dive one down the inside of the left-hander? No. But I would imagine he's going to maybe battery dump to get ahead here if he had a lot of battery to dump. Now, is Matti going to go defensive? Moves towards the outside. Ondrejek doesn't really have the pace to get ahead of him. Gonna try around the outside, maybe a bit better on the brakes. Side by side, heading into the final braking zone. Matti has the inside. Is it gonna force him a little bit wide? Oh, Ondrejek just not able to get ahead of that Ferrari. And he's doing his teammate a massive favour at the moment with that time penalty, as Ondrejek sets the fastest lap at the Grand Prix. Is Ondrejek gonna try one around the outside into the fast corner? Yes, he is. Matti Ondercheck side by side heading into the second corner now as well. Matty holds the position. Good racing between the two. We haven't seen these two do too much battling in the past. Matty and Ondercheck, that's a nice little battle with Spenclose right there as well. Just hoping that the two would maybe just have a little bit of a moment. Okay, so Djokovic is rapidly eating into the advantage of ABT at the moment. What was 9 seconds, now 5.7 seconds. But it's still a masterstroke this from ABT, skipping a pit stop basically, gaining upwards of 20-25 seconds, and he is now well and truly in contention this race. As No Larks is having a really tough one down in P12 at the moment. 49 seconds behind Ginstus, who's a couple of seconds behind the points as well. No Larks needs a safety car for this race to come back to him, or he's just going to get nowhere. Here we go, Ondercheck on Matty. This time around, Ondercheck with a little bit more pace, but is still going to go side by side, heading into the braking zone. Matty, how much is he going to be holding up Ondercheck here? Still down the inside of the final corner. Ondercheck just slightly ahead of him. Matty comes back at him on the apex. Oh, but Ondercheck just has a little bit more. The two make slight contact as the track narrows. Ondercheck takes the position away from Matty Adam, who's now maybe just coming back at him through the first corner. No, not quite. Had the momentum, didn't quite fancy going for what would have been a massive dive. Can't say anything else. 4 seconds now, the gap between ABT and Djokovic up the front. As here we go, Ondercheck appearing to just have that slight bit more pace than Matty Adam, but we'll wait and see if this battle continues on. Worthy of consideration, Nasi has a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's been increased from 5 last season to 10 this year. Yeah, it's a one penalty you cannot afford to get in these races. Now, you'd rather go a second slower into the pit lane than risk getting one of those. Really tough on Nasibat. Just a kilometer or two over, it's a 10-second time penalty. It's harsh. It's really harsh. As here we go, the rain is it's not picking up again, but it's looking slightly heavier than it was a couple of laps ago. But I do believe those mixed conditions will come into play. I do believe the track's going to dry out in about 10 laps. I'm going to have a couple of laps on the softs at the end. As Djokovic goes faster than anyone, 37.140, and he's now within 2 seconds, and he can smell the race lead. Okay, so there is a tire offset from ABT to everyone else. I don't believe there's any denying that at this point. Djokovic just working so much better in these conditions as well than anyone, and that could play a part of it as well. I don't know how bad BT's tyres are looking, but Djokovic's pace around here is immense. So how much is BT going to fight this one? We'll wait and see. It is for the leader of the Grand Prix, remember that. As Spenclose now would want to get past Matty Adams 16, who's doing his teammates a couple of favours at the moment. He's going to be able to maybe a down the inside. Yes, he goes for it. Makes slight contact with Matty. Oh, is he going to let... Oh, he's just going to get a bit slippy on the exit of that final corner, of that next corner. But Spenclose takes the position away from Matty. No Larks is out of this session. And in the pit lane, which is going to trigger an automatic penalty. As Watts gets the first 3-second time penalty of this race. And Djokovic as well now has taken the lead of the Grand Prix of ABT. Djokovic then, fastest lap of the Grand Prix yet again. 5/10 quicker than his last occasion, and that was the ghost of No Larks, or the retired car of No Larks, getting massively in the way of Djokovic there. which is why we have that rule in order. You're not allowed to retire in the middle of an NEF1 event without proper reasoning. Squidge now with 3-second time penalty, and I believe those 3-second time penalties are a sign that the track conditions are just getting better. You start pushing those track limits that little bit more. I will wait and see what goes on now. But I do believe we're heading towards dry conditions. We're further away through this Grand Prix, which is taking quite a bit of time at the moment. We're looking at a Grand Prix length of up towards an hour as things stand. No Larks, first retiree of this session, 50 seconds behind anyone else, wasn't able to get anything done, unfortunately, tonight. Spenclose then was able to get ahead of Matty, somewhat stayed with him, not quite within punching distance yet though. As then Wigan 71 behind Squidge at the moment and within touching distance, almost within touching distance. There's just outbroke himself a little bit, and I believe Squidge is now going to want to get himself out of touching distance in that remark, probably in both remarks, but mainly the second one. Oh, it just starts squealing under the brakes for Wigan, is absolutely pushing the limit of grip there. But the track is now starting to dry up by the look of things. Not a dry line beginning to form, but I believe more water is being cleared than what's coming back onto the track. Djokovic now with a 3.5 second advantage over BT. Nasi's catching up to the back of the Mercedes. Onderchek's going to be next in line, his teammate. So we'll see if BT can maybe just back up Nasi ever so slightly, or how much life is left in those intermediate tires. BT, what he can't afford now is to have to make a pit stop. If he does, race ruined. So he needs to hold on until those dry conditions do apply. He's going to be asking his engineer about that every single lap. As here we go, Nasi passes BT like it was taking candy from a baby on lap 11, back up to P2. Keep in mind, 10-second time penalty. As Djokovic, another fastest lap, 36.1, and the track conditions are improving. So the question is, when do you risk it on a set of softs? Does it completely need to stop raining? I believe so. Yeah, after that little moment from ABT, I do believe it completely needs to stop raining. But who's going to be first to risk it? And how long is this slight rain going to go on for? Would be nice for it to end just about now. We'll wait and see. Everyone's still relatively close together, but no real battles going on. Maybe this one, Matty and Spenclose. Squidge and Wigan getting feisty as well. Wigan's actually been able to get past Squidge. There we go, just chasing through that third sector. Lap 12 out of 29, still not even halfway through this Grand Prix. It's taking quite a bit of time at the moment, and we have a problem for an RB. Is that in the final sector? I believe it's Iwatts. Against this now into the points. Iwatts with a little bit of a moment there, I'm quite sure. See how can recover, and Djokovic improves further. So Venebiti staying out for a couple of more laps by the look of things. Ondercheck is now starting to catch him. Nasi now realistically 15 seconds behind Djokovic and out of contention for this win, unless we have a safety car just after he served that 10-second time penalty, which he is going to serve in the middle of the Grand Prix. It's not going to be applied afterwards, because we are going to have one more pit stop before the end of this race, surely. As Matty now is very much within punching distance of Spenklos. How much batteries are going to dump to get this move done? Quite a bit, by the look of things. Round the outside of the next corner. Is he going to be able to get that done? Round the outside. Spenklos holds the inside. Slight contact yet again. Forces Matty wide. Oh, that is hair fine margins. It's hard racing. Don't think there's too much in that. Matty takes P5 away from Spenklos 64. So Matty now with the advantage. Spenklos in P6, Samo P7, running a race of his own, scoring some solid points. Wigan in P8, Squidge in P9, Ginster scoring points down in P10. Oh, massive moment. Was that from a BT or from Ondracek? I believe it was from Ondracek, judging by the subsequent moment. And oh, is that the tyres starting to disappear for Ondracek maybe? A BT still in P3 and in a podium place. Okay, so lap 14 out of 29. Now we're at halfway distance throughout this race. Surely we're gonna start seeing people coming in for a new set of Inters quite soon. Can they actually hold on? BT should be the one to come in first. He's not gonna want to. Are we gonna start seeing people towards the back come in for that other set of intermediate tires? The question is, how worn are those old sets and how much time are we actually gonna gain on a brand new set? If we're gonna be on them for about 10 more laps, might be worth it. Might just be worth it. Hard judgment call, really. They should have a better idea of when those dry conditions are going to be coming in as well. So I'm afraid I don't. As here we go, DRS has been enabled by race control, which usually means dry conditions on track. Now, is the track good enough for dries? BT might want to find that out this lap, and he is going to find that out this lap. Coming into the pit lane. Oh wow. Did that take anything of his wing off? We'll wait and see in a moment. New front wing for a BT? No. But what tires are going on? People are now coming in. I believe that's Nasi and Matty as well. Nasi. Oh, is this going to hold Matty up? Yes, it is. It's going to massively hold Matty up. That was not the best thing for Matty MC, let me tell you. He's going to lose out positions. He's going to lose out... how many positions? He's going to lose out to Spenklos. Is the only one. He's going to lose time as well. Medium tires going on for Nasi. Medium tires going on for ABT. Here we go. Dry conditions apply now. How quickly is that gap going to come down? 33.8 is the gap between the leader and Nasi at the moment, and it's coming down. It's coming down quick. Djokovic and Ondracek needs to hurry into the pit lane here before they lose too much, because BT did go in for those tires as well. He's going to be... yeah, he might be gapping Ondracek here with this move, you know. But right now he's experiencing the issue of iWatts ahead of him. He would have absolutely loved... is that not iWatts? What am I... who is that? Oh, it's a Williams. It's a Williams. That would have been Samo Bamo ahead of him, actually. Forgive me some misinformation. Sorry, iWatts. So BT's experiencing the problem of Samo Bamo. He's going to absolutely fly past him now. First DRS move of this race then, which tells you just how easy DRS moves are going to be on this new dry circuit. Here we go. Djokovic and Ondracek has come into the pit lane. BT's not going to be able to get ahead of him. Might actually be able to get ahead of his teammate Ondracek. Nasi's lost out quite a bit of time now. And it's a double Mercedes podium of Djokovic, ABT, and Ondracek. All Mercedes power, but Djokovic with an 11-second lead of this Grand Prix, and he has this one in the bag, Djokovic. Unless we have a safety car, unless he has a moment, Djokovic has the Miami Grand Prix in the bag. So here we go, a Beatty v Ondrejek. Ondrejek, is he on the mediums? Yes, he is. How hard is Beatty going to fight this one? He's not going to fight it. Okay, so everyone now, as iWatts is just now coming in a little bit too late, is going to have a hard time making anything of this race now, unfortunately, unless anyone retires. But everyone now on dry tyres, and that dry period came towards us very quickly. Now the lap times are going to decrease by a lot. So here we go, and now we're going to have a little bit of competition for P2 as well between the two Mercedes. Djokovic, Ondrejek and a Beatty. Djokovic at the moment extending his lead in the Drivers' Championship. Ondrejek is going to make up quite a bit of ground on Nassi. Nassi is now penalty free, needs to get up to at least Spenclose, preferably Beatty and Ondrejek as well. But does he have the pace to, Nassi? At the moment, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, which Matthew Wiggin cannot match. Can Squidge match it? On a set of hard tyres, probably not. Sam, I was actually going to get past Squidge heading into turn 1 on the slightly better medium tyre. As I believe Squidge is going to try the switchback, but it's not going to work for him. Quite a couple of people opting for a set of hard tyres here with not too long to go. At a track where I don't think tyre wear is going to be awful. Quite surprising, actually. Oh, as he beat is now actually getting closer to Ondrejek, and he's managing to stay with his teammate, who goes a little bit wide. Ondrejek hasn't been completely mistake-free. No massive mistakes, but just going a little bit wide here and bad. Just those small types of error that we didn't really see from him last season on the old game. It's a massively rebranded game, this. And now they have changed the handling model yet again for the second time since launch. Basically making the curbs more aggressive as well for some reason. They just keep changing it. It was somewhat fine at the beginning, then it, to be fair, became a little bit better with the second update. Now they've just changed it again. As Djokovic sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and Nassi's going to get ahead of Spenclose on track P4. 6.6 seconds now. Oh, as Nassi's going to go massively deep into the braking zone. That's going to allow Spenclose a little move on him. Maybe up to P1. Is Spenclose going to be fighting this one too hard, though? Or does he just have to see the position Nassi? Yes, he does. Nassi, at the moment, no, but Spenclose goes down his inside into turn 1. Ooh, and this is hard racing between the two. Spenclose has to budge. Nassi takes P4 away. Crucially, did Nassi receive any type of damage from that slight contact with Spenclose in turn 1? No, he did not. Spenclose tried it. He tried it for as hard as he could. Crucially enough for Nassi, though, that battle did lose him over a second in just that corner alone. So now 8 seconds up to a beat. He might just be too tall in order. We'll wait and see. What the Mercedes are doing as well right now is just helping each other along a little bit. Ondrejek is the fastest guy, or the faster guy on track. Beat is just getting a little bit of help from him in P3 with that DRS. It's not allowing Nassi to catch up in the way he'd want to. That might be a strategy that the Mercedes guys realistically should keep going with. Ondrejek now realistically doesn't have a chance to catch Djokovic. If we're looking at the realistic prospects, the battle for the lead of this Grand Prix should be over, and I believe Djokovic can just sit this one out now. 11 seconds. It's been a masterclass this from Djokovic in the wet. So beat is the fastest lap of this race so far. He's actually bridging a gap to now, so you might have to settle for P4. Tell you what would be fun now, just that second wet period in the race would really spice things up. Actually, no, let's not. But it would be entertaining. It would be entertaining. So Undertech in P2 at the moment, Djokovic in P1 with beating P3. It's a double Mercedes podium for the first time this season, if I'm not mistaken. Decent result for Ferrari as well. Red Bull's not quite there. Undertech now, fastest lap per Grand Prix. I just want to bit silent throughout the last minute or two. Not really much going on at the moment. Matty on the back of Spenclose after his little battle with Nassi, and Matty's now gonna maybe go for the same move Spenclose went on his teammate down the inside in turn 1. And what was that from Spenclose? Just moved out of the way by the look of things. Maybe just saw the puff of smoke from Matty and figured I don't want any of this. But what that did was allow Matty to get through, even though they realistically didn't have the best corner. A little bit of a weird moment that. Matty goes massively deep into the final corner of Sector 1. But everything is calming down. Zamo Bamo in P8 actually has lost position to Wigan, who's having a decent stint now on these dry tyres. Oh, 10 laps to go, and this is turning into one of the longer races this season in NEF1. So Spenclose v Matty version 2. DRS Open, not going to be able to get anywhere close to him. 7/10 of a second. Matty with another lockup heading into turn 1. Which is one of those fast corners that's going to promote lockups, really. Needs to get rid of those. Those are going to wear down his tyres relatively quickly. Nassi now 7.2 seconds behind BT. He's in with a chance here. BT's now lost track of Undertech completely. Which solidifies Undertech's P2 a little bit, but Nassi, getting closer to ABT, but it's not at the rate he'd want to. If anything, it's going to be close towards the end, but it's not, I would imagine BT's able to hang on to this. 7.1, that needs to go down now by a second per lap if Nassi wants to have a chance at an overtake here. Keep in mind, as long as this race goes on, it's going to get harder and harder to overtake because the tyre wear is going to get worse and worse. BT made a brilliant move coming in when he did, must be said. First out of anyone to come in along with Matty, I believe, followed him straight into pit lane, and Spenclose as well. And they have benefited from it. Spenclose on Matty now with a little bit of DRS. Might be able to have a move down into the last corner. Oh, the Ferrari's rapidly closing in. As they're now rapidly closing in on Nassi as well, and Nassi's now lost a full second over ABT. I believe that might have been it. That might have been it for the battle for the podium. 8 seconds now with 8 laps to go. So then the question is, which Ferrari is going to finish in the top 4? Is it going to be Nassi? Is it going to be Matty? And is Spenclose going to be able to split them? Squidge not having the best of races at the moment. Decent in qualifying. And not being able to hang it in the Grand Prix. Spenclose more decent in qualifying. But again, not able to convert as Nassi now goes behind both Matty and Spenclose actually. At the end of that DRS rate. Nassi's just struggling a little bit. He is not deploying anything, though. By the look of things. I don't know if that's a glitch. Slightly curious, this. And now, are we going to make it free wide into the final corner? Spenclose now in the top 4. Matty in P5. Nassim looked around the outside, but wasn't able to make that work in that type of corner. It's just hanging back a little bit, Nassi now. Don't really understand where Nassi's pace has disappeared. Beat is now basically confirmed for P3 as Matty goes sideways into turn 1 after that lockup. Massively loses it. Nassi loses it following him. And Spenclose, what is going on? Matty's still pushing Spenclose, but that was a massive lockup heading into the fast corner. It's an absolutely massive lockup. Yeah, biggest moment of the Grand Prix there for Matty MC, surely. Matty Adam is he's now called. Just pure reflex after saying Matty MC for literally 4 years now. As Wigan out on P9, Samus up to P7 and Squidge is in P8. All running relatively close to each other. Once again, a lockup from Matty forces him wide. Is that going to allow Nassi maybe a move around the outside? No, not quite, but he's having a look at it. And these two Ferraris need to stop squabbling now because they're going to allow Spenclose to run away with this one. They need to settle for, okay, who goes for it, who hangs back? Is it going to be Matty? Is it going to be Nassi? At the moment, I believe, maybe Nassi with the lockups? With the lockups that Matty's having? I don't know, though. But they need to stop the infighting. As Nassi then goes deep following Matty, just like a grip heading into the braking zone. As Spenclose is now, has he gotten out of the RS advantage? No, not quite, but he's close. He's close. As Squidge has now been overtaken by Wigan 71, coming onto the back, or to the fast straight. Not even into the fast corner, just coming onto the straight. Wigan's flown past Squidge. So then, Spenclose, Matty, Nassi is the closest battle on track at the moment. 4P4. But Spenclose at the moment looks like he's got that covered. Long way still to go, 5 laps. As there we go, Matty gets past Spenclose, now needs to start breaking away or this is going to turn even more interesting. Spenclose is going to be able to fight this one back into turn 1 as he has a couple of times before, going to be forced a long way round on that hard tyre, which is going to start becoming the better race tyre quite soon surely. Oh, and it's close between him and Matty, get very close to each other, a little bit of a moment for Spenclose. Matty takes P4 away from him. But this might well come to Spenclose towards the last couple of laps on that tyre. Let's see how bad the medium degrades over the next couple of laps. As now the sun's starting to come out, the track temperature is just going to start increasing a little bit. It's still damp at certain places. You can see where the dry line is. Yellow flags in Sector 1. That's Nassi, who's had a massive issue coming out of that corner. And is that going to be Nassi out of the points? Does he have a front wing left? No, he doesn't. Nassi might not finish in the points here. Actually, does have time to make a pit stop. But Nassi, with a massive issue now, it's left to Matty and Spenclose to fight this one out. Nassi, with a mistake, coming out of the final corner in Sector 1. Oh, and Nassi's not had the best of races so far today. 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and now that mistake is going to cost him a chance at, well, really any sort of proper points, whilst Djokovic extends 25 points on him. That gap is going to be upwards of 30 points come the end of this race now. Yeah, Djokovic at the moment, it's just solid Djokovic this season. It's been brilliant. Podium, if I'm not mistaken, every single race of the season so far. And it's just, he's doing everything he needs to win the championship, Djokovic, right now. He's doing everything he needs to. And we're still not even close, we're not even a third way through the season quite yet, but Djokovic at the moment, I'd be surprised if he doesn't take this one home. I feel comfortable saying that. I'll be surprised if Djokovic doesn't end up taking the championship with the way he's driving so far this season. No one's gotten close to matching him today, especially in those wet conditions. Here we go, Spenclose on Matty. And he gets that position back. As now then we're coming into the closing stages. Djokovic, Undercheck, BT, Spenclose, Matty, Adams, 16, followed by Squid, Samo, Wigan, Nassi. Has made it into the pit lane yet? Yes, he has. That fastest lap point will be coming Nassi's way with this move then. Wigan, to be fair, does have a gap to pit if he wants to as well to go for that fastest lap now. That's if he fancies he can't get past Squidge Samo, that is. Squidge actually 3-second time penalty. Yeah, Wigan doesn't have the opportunity to pit. We'll be picking up that position on penalties unless Squidge can now break away a little bit. Talking about breaking away, that's what the other Red Bull's trying to do at the moment of Spenclose 64. Matty is just staying with him for the time being. Staying with him is not going to be enough for that little battle against the Red Bull. Needs to get ahead of him to get those extra 3 points in the championship. 2 points in the championship, it's either 12 or 10. And if you're the top 3 at the moment, you're feeling quite comfortable with 3 laps to go. And especially this man, must be said, he's looking relaxed as ever. Djokovic, he's been in this situation so many times before. Is it a situation now, I couldn't 100% tell you this, but surely Djokovic is now by far the most successful driver in NEF1 history. He's the only 2-time NEF1 champion, but I don't think anyone's won more Grand Prix than him. We'll actually be able to track that if we want to, so maybe it's time for us to just go through everything and become statistic nerds. But surely Djokovic is the winningest driver in New Era. I'd be surprised if he isn't. Spenclose now, behind Matty. How'd that happen? Oh well, we've got 2 laps to settle this little dispute. 2 laps to settle this. Spenclose or Matty Adams 16. Which of them going to finish in P4? Squidge has now been able to get ahead of Samo Bamo, but as long as this fighting goes on, Squidge is going to be finishing P8. Wiggins now ahead of Samo Bamo. A little bit of a cheeky move down into the final corner, which unfortunately I didn't catch, just saw the movement. 2 laps to go. Squidge needs to break away by 3 seconds. It's looking hard for him. But if Samo and Wigan continues doing this, then that might be likely. That's a bit dodgy that from Samo running Wigan out of road. Bit dodgy, might be looked at the end of the Grand Prix. We'll wait and see. But Squidge has now gotten rid of that DRS. Is that actually now what's going to allow him to break away just that little bit? Nassi fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Matty and Spenclose, they'll have 1 more lap to settle this little dispute. And both are doing the exact same thing. They're charging up, 1 to attack, 1 to defend. Are they even going to use that on this coming straight, or is everything going to come down to the final lap? DRS is enabled for Spenclose, or allowed for Spenclose. He's not even opened it. Spenclose does not want to get past Matty MC onto the final lap. Matty is probably in a situation where he wants to get overtaken. Is DRS going to enable him and just to get a little bit closer? Yes, it is. But this is, it's iconic moments at the moment, Matty and Spenclose. Spenclose not even trying. He could have flown past Matty there if he wanted to. He just opted not to. as Djokovic then halfway through the final lap of the Grand Prix already, and it is going to be a decisive victory. Biggest winning margin in a long time for Djokovic. This 10 seconds, 11 seconds almost. And now then, this battle is just about to ensue. When is that move going to happen? Is it going to happen here? Matti or Spengler? Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Spengler, when does he start attacking? Here we go. How much is... he's not attacking Matti. He's not attacking Matti. He's going to leave this up to the final corner, and Matti's in a bad situation now. But how hard is he going to be able to defend this? Spengler, does he have the edge on the one-time NEF1 champion? And as we say this, Djokovic is going to cross the line for the Miami Grand Prix of Season 8, and it's a brilliant display from him. Here we go, Matti. Unfortunately, buddy, you're not going to be able to do anything about this one. Spengler takes P4 away from him on the last lap. Matti, he tried his best, but it wasn't to be. Spengler takes P4 in this Grand Prix. Djokovic takes the win, followed by Ondřejek and ABT with his second podium of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Spengler with that P4 after a hard-fought battle with Matti Adams 16 and Nasi for a majority of this race. Nasi unfortunately wasn't able to make too much of it to Samo. Nasi might actually be able to... Nah, he's way too far back. Samo with him stay coming out of the final corner, but he's still going to come home for P8. Nasi with P9 plus the fastest lap. It's a disappointing race for the other Ferrari. And Iwat is going to come home. Has come home. Has he come home? No, he's going to come home to finish P10 in the end. Ginsters failing to score here by wide a couple of decent margins throughout this race, but it just wasn't Nasi's day today. Wasn't really there for the pace. Got our strategy at least, and then a little bit of a mistake. As for actually getting a message from AB to want to put it on record saying that this is the worst track on the calendar, even though he got a podium here, doesn't quite fancy the track. It's a tricky track, Miami, really. It's a weird track. But let me tell you, he'll want to get back here as soon as he can. That's Djokovic. Not really there in qualifying at all. Didn't expect to see him whatsoever, really, for the Grand Prix. But he just absolutely took off in the wet conditions. No one was able to match him. And in the end, he wins the Miami Grand Prix by 11 seconds. And it wasn't ever in doubt. Wasn't ever in doubt since he took the lead of the Grand Prix there on lap 3. Didn't look back. The advantage just grew and grew. That's a brilliant race from Djokovic. Swedish flags on top here at the Miami Grand Prix. He's followed by Ondřejek and ABT, who wins his somewhat home race in North America at least. Yeah, what a race from Djokovic. What a driver. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Mercedes, the highest scoring constructor of the day then. As well worth pointing out. Let's see how that affects the Constructors' Championship in a little bit. As we get into the black screen of death, and the result screen just completely disappeared. So if anyone can capture that result screen as I couldn't, then please do so and send it in. Because mine just disappeared, as it does on this game every now and again. But then, that is going to be it for this Miami Grand Prix, and thank you so much for watching. Next week then, I actually got no clue where we're headed, so let's actually check that out so we can give you an AFAM. Actually heading to the home race of ABT next week out in Canada, followed by Austria for the first time in quite a long time in NEF1. So the Canadian Grand Prix is coming up next week then in F1, so don't miss out on that. We'll be back in 7 days time exactly for that Canadian Grand Prix. Until then guys, thank you so much for watching, take care, stay safe, and peace out.